Hello, everyone. We're Renegade Squirrel. We're a voter data software company, and we're changing the face of local politics nationwide. So I want you to meet Taylin. She's running for office in Buncombe County, Commissioner District 3. She's a first-time candidate. She's passionate about her community. She needs to reach as many voters as possible. Meet Carla. She's running for NC State House in the 106th. She's an incumbent. She's running against fierce competition for the first time. She needs a new strategy for reaching voters. Meet Adam. He's running for NC House in the 35th. He's a first-time candidate, and he's in a hotly contested race against a favored incumbent. He needs an advantage over his competition. There are tens of thousands of candidates like this running for office every year. These are just 3 of ours in our pilot program. Every year, there's about 3,000 candidates per state. There's 50 states. And candidates are spending an average of about $2,000 on their voter data software. We estimate that about 80% of the total market is our target because they fit some of the criteria, like a first-time candidate running against, in a fierce, competition with an incumbent, or running for the first time against competition. And that brings us to about a $238 million a year market. It's big, yeah. So what our candidates need most is time. It's not about saving money. It's not about really anything except for saving time. And so we asked, what is an hour worth to a campaign? In an hour, you can make 50 phone calls. You can knock on 30 doors. You can reach 10 voters in person, and you can convince 5 people to vote for you. 5 volunteers spending 16 hours can mean the difference between winning and losing an election. It means more face time with voters. It means making local politics meaningful again to your community. So would you rather spend months trying to use an Excel spreadsheet to organize your voter data, or weeks using one of our competitors' complicated software tools? Or would you rather spend minutes accessing your voter contact information with Renegade Squirrel? This is an actual screenshot of what they use. So I'll pass this to Mike.
Hello, everybody. So Renegade Squirrel offers a voter data management system for grassroots campaigns. And what we offer compared to our competitors, we allow campaigns to get access to all of their campaign lists. That includes canvassing and phone banking in 30 seconds or less. They get to filter to just the voters they want to reach. We take care of the filtering for them so they're not confused and dealing with files and files of Board of Elections data. They don't have to sort it, we sort it for them. And our data is up to date. We're constantly updating our data, so they're not knocking on doors of people who have moved out of town. Bottom line is, we save campaigns time, and the more time they save, the more voters they reach, the better chance they have to win.
So these are 6 of our pilot program campaigns. We're already helping them get out and reach voters. We've had a lot of success so far with them being able to do more canvassing, more calling. It's been a great learning experience for us, so we're getting a lot of feedback from them about what's working, what they'd like to change. But everything's going great. The primaries are May 8th, so it's like go time right now. Our competitive edge is really, it's us. There's 3 founders. I'm Megan Bassoni, I'm the CEO. I have a background in UX design and nonprofit and business leadership. Mike Hutman, he's the CTO, he's a full stack developer, and he's been involved in local politics for over 6 years. And Eric Bridges, who isn't with us here today, he's a COO, and he has a lot of marketing and sales strategy experience. So we really understand our market. And what we need to do now is to secure funding. We have a lot of milestones we're trying to meet in 2018. So we want to hire talent. We need to build out our infrastructure and buy more servers so we can have more data. We need to do some product development and user testing. And we're also going to begin developing a mobile app that is a handheld app to do canvassing, walking around a neighborhood with, that volunteers can use. In 2018, we are in North Carolina only. 2019, we're going to try to be in 15 states, maybe 20. And then by 2020, we'd like to be nationwide. So that's it. Thank you. We're Renegade Squirrel.
It's us now.
Yeah.
I'll dive in. For full disclosure, I know these guys pretty well. They pitched first time at a pitch party at Hatch, so I've seen their evolution. I think what's great about what you're doing, it's a clear market out there, and you can't miss that. I think you've articulated a use case where people are frustrated, they're in the back office and not out in the field, and you have a technology that should work. I guess what just hit me is, why you? What's your secret sauce? You know, what's going to keep somebody from knocking you off and you put all this work in and then it's gone? I understand you're three talented individuals, but what's your secret sauce?
Sure.
So we have several competitors in this field, and there are plenty of developers that can create beautiful interfaces using this voter data. That's not contestable. What all of these competitors are failing to do is understand the political side of the software. We looked at one of our competitors the other day, and on part of their onboarding process, they say campaigns provide a CSV file of their voter data. And I'm thinking, all the campaigns I know don't know what a CSV file is. You have to understand the politics, understand where campaigns are coming from. They don't have time to find this data. So our competitive advantage is that we understand the campaigns, and we're building software based on data from working with those campaigns on the ground.
Yeah, I think it's that we really understand the pain points of our clients, and we're offering them a solution that they haven't ever seen before. That just takes the difficult work out of it. It's not like you saw the slide of the competitor. It's not a bunch of knobs and levers that you have to pull to figure out what your perfect voter tiers are. We do that all for them, and that actually, our customizing of their voter tiers, it's per campaign. So, you know, if you're running in one district, your voter tiers are going to look different than the district next to yours based on the election that you're running in and the voters that you're trying to reach. It's all different for everybody. And that level of customization is what is also part of our secret sauce.
Cool.
Two questions, one business, one otherwise. With respect to your funding, how much talent do you need to hire, and how much do you need to build out your software, et cetera, and infrastructure?
That's a good question. So he asked, how many people do we need to hire? How much do we need to build out our software? I can give a short answer, and I'm going to let Mike speak to this too, but the software has already been built, and so now we're just doing some refining and adding of features and polishing it. We actually have been whittling down our talent needs to be a little bit more like a skeleton staff so that we can cover most of it. But we'd like to be able to hire a developer to help with the mobile app because that's not necessarily in our wheelhouse. And also try to construct a sales team of people so we can get more reach for the general election.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. We're looking for an additional developer, ideally a QA person, and someone to hop in part-time on a DBA type role. And I think with that core of people, we can definitely be prepared for going into more states next year and hopefully expand to all states in the next 2 years.
Yeah, but we have most of what we need at the moment to sustain ourselves.
Okay, the second question is really a political question, and that is, do you do Democrats and Republicans? Do you do both candidates in one race, or a whole slew of candidates all involved in the same race?
Yeah, well, we're nonpartisan, so we're not trying to pick favorites. We want to support everyone. Also, North Carolina just opened up to the Green Party, so there's like another party, got Libertarians. And in terms of people running against each other, right now our philosophy is yes, we will let them, but we might introduce a sort of like non-compete, like fee. If you don't want us to sell to someone else, you can pay us more, and we won't. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay.
So I have a couple of suggestions. But first, the way you started it with those 3 stories, that was awesome. I was totally engaged and interested in hearing about the company after that. You it might help to have a problem slide. What is the problem that you're trying to solve?
Okay.
Because so we had what they were, and is there going to be a problem slide?
Well,
That-
it's kind of the, kind of.
Okay, so this was the months and weeks. I mean, is that really the problem that you're solving? Time, or are there other things that's this is just for you to
Sure.
to think about? And then the other thing that strikes me is that a company that I'd like to hear three important things for me to have a sense that you guys can make it. One is that you have an excellent business model. Two, that it's a huge market. And three, that you're an awesome team. So those three things, and all three of those you touched on, but I don't think you did an excellent job at any of them. So on the market, you had that market slide, but you went through it so quickly. I didn't get the
Yeah.
gist of it. So if you can get more confident with that slide, the business model. I don't know if you talked about how you will make money, and what. Just I don't think you know if the business model is what you sell minus costs equal profit. I didn't get that from your presentation. And then lastly, the team. You listed you listed some things about yourself really quickly, but I still didn't get a sense of you guys as a team. And maybe there's some story how you came together. What's the magic that sets you guys up to want to do this and be successful?
Yeah, good points. There's no questions there, so I'm
Well,
just going to take that and put it on.
Right. Just trying to, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's always hard, I think, to choose like exactly what you put in here because there's always things that you have to kind of brush through in 5 minutes, but I think that's really helpful.
Let me
feedback.
ask
Thank you.
one follow-up to his, and that is the 80% of the $298 million market. How realistic is that? What are your problems getting to that?
So there are some problems to get to that. There's one of the things that we were talking about yesterday, we are calling it the inertia hurdle, which is just familiarizing people with our product and making sure that they know that it's a valuable and valuable option for them because there's one of our main competitors is called Vote Builder, and it's actually owned by the Democratic Party. So when we're talking to Democratic candidates, some of them think that that's the only thing they're allowed to use, which is not true. It's not a huge hurdle for us, but it's just making sure that people know that they're allowed to use our software, that there's no like clause for them in their contract, when they're running, that they have to use the tool that the Democratic Party is providing, which they also have to pay for. So it's not like a free service or anything. So that's one of the things that we've come up against a little bit in getting out there when we're just doing sort of like cold calling and sales and just reaching out to people we've never talked to before. But what we've found is that most of our pilot program candidates, actually all of them, are referrals that people heard about, from somebody else. They heard about us, and that seems to be like the way that we're going to overcome the inertia hurdle. Don't say that 5 times fast. And so it seems like a referral base for us is really going to be the key to getting out there and reaching most of the people. Go ahead.
Just to expand on that real quick, we do have a go-to-market strategy, and just to piggyback on what Megan said, we are aiming for what's called kingmakers. They are individuals across the state and in other states that they influence candidates' decisions. So we're going after folks like party chairs and party officials and people that manage multiple campaigns to make sure that when they're talking to candidates, they're telling them, hey, you need to check out Renegade Squirrel.
Yeah.
We do have a solid plan for acquiring new campaigns as we move into the next 24 months.
So just to build on what Michael said, I think you have a tech founder, you tend to speak tech, and I think the challenge is to translate that into a human problem, and I think that my offer to you would be FaceTime with candidates is being stolen by back office clutter. you know, this is a real problem in there, and one voter can swing an election. So I would encourage you to think about that. And I think to answer the question I posed to you earlier, because I've had time to stew on it, you know, you're master translators. You can take all this political swirl and make it real and turn it into action, and you do it with a tech solution. But you're translators, and your multifaceted team is allowing you to do that. And that, to me, feels like a potential secret sauce for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was going to say your secret sauce is that you have political experience. So these other tech people are tech people, and you got to hammer on, well, this is what we did in this campaign, and here's why, you know, even if you weren't a company yet, you were involved in politics.
Yeah,
And that's got to count for something.
the backstory actually, we did not include, but the reason why, we all met each other because we worked at the same company, and so that's kind of irrelevant, but Mike used to work on political campaigns as a volunteer and was so frustrated with the voter data software and the options for organizing the voter data that he was like, screw this, I'm going to make my own software program. And then he had the idea, he thought it was just going to be something he did sort of like for fun, for campaigns that he liked. And then Eric and I came along and we're like, that's brilliant. Let's like actually, you know, put a lot of energy into this and make it into something. When we did the Hatch pitch night, we ran into John Jones, who's probably many of you guys know. He's with Hatch, and it was the night before the pitch party, and I said, oh, we kind of have an idea. And he's like, well, come pitch. And we're like, we're not ready to do that at all. And then he's like, no, just come. You're probably more ready than you think you are. And then we won. So that really like gave us the wind in our sails to move forward. But that's kind of our little like founding story.
And that's an
Great story.
awesome founding story.
Yeah.
And if you were to,
Why didn't you say that?
if you were to, you know, do those three needs and then your story, I mean,
Yeah.
I really feel like I
Yeah.
know you so much more, you know,
Okay.
after that 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool. Anything else?
No, thank you. Yeah, just saying what Megan said, there was so much pain going through those Excel sheets and business intelligence software to help sort through this data. And I just decided, no, it's time to build something better for these grassroots campaigns.
There's
Yeah,
a-
time for one more?
Yeah, there's another question.
Is your software scalable to like at the county level, like for register of deeds, elected officials, county treasurers? Because it seems like your focus is on state legislators, but there is also a market, but there's probably not as much campaign money at this like lower level.
You can take that, we have.
Yeah, it's a great question. So the question was, is the software scalable to small scale races countywide and lower?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes. We're actually aiming for those grassroots campaigns because a lot of times these candidates running for state house and races lower than that, they don't have the resources, so they're not being chased by larger companies. And they're a very lucrative market. There's so many people running these races. But the big competitors, they just don't want to go for those smaller dollar campaigns.
I work with an association of elected officials, and to me, that you have a very interesting message for that. The question will be the scalability. They almost would need a light version, maybe,
Yeah.
of what you're doing. You know, not statewide, but in their county.
Yeah.
So our pricing model scales based on number of voters in their elections. So it's very affordable for small campaigns.
Yeah.
All right, let's give Renegade Squirrel a round of applause.